Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're breaking down the full card of Cejudo versus Song. Also not feeling the best, so bear with me. 12 fights on the card. There's a couple of cancellations. Rob Font versus Dominic Cruz was cancelled. So anyways, we'll get into this card. First up on the card here, we got Adam Fugitt versus Billy Ray Goff. Adam Fugitt here is coming off a win. Wasn't the best win. Like, it was a bit of a slow pace fight. Was a striking matchup. Josh Quinlan obviously not looking too good there, coming off the roids. But Adam Fugitt's more of a guy, stays on the striking, uses a bit of low kicks, body kicks, and looks for more counters. Not the most exciting fighter, but yeah. So I'm going against someone like Billy Ray Goff. Billy Ray Goff is coming off a loss against Trey Waters. Billy Ray Goff was on a bit of a win streak before there, and had a couple of KOs on record. So he's a guy who will push forward. Got a lot of output. I've noticed in his last fight. He'll throw a lot of leg kicks, and also target the body with kicks, and also try to look for takedowns. And he didn't really have too much success with it in the last fight against Trey Waters. But yeah, he definitely got some power in his hand for the knockout. So in this matchup here, I feel like Billy Ray Goff would probably have some chances to get some takedowns, but if he does foul, I feel like his output will definitely be the difference here, and he's pushing the pressure as well. While Adam Fugitt's more of a guy staying at range and more stationary. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Billy Ray Goff in this matchup here. 50% going Fugitt, for 85% going Goff, and I'm gonna go with Goff as well. Next up, we've got Nick Klein versus Mansur Abdul-Malik. With this matchup here, Nick Klein's still new to the UFC. He coming off a Contender Series win with a rear naked choke. More of a guy who's very high pressure with his striking, and then he'll try to get his takedown and use his grappling. So he's still new to the UFC, so I'm just a bit skeptical on picking him. While Mansur Abdul-Malik, yeah, he's new to the UFC, but at least he's got one fight in there, and he had a KO against Dusko there, Todorovic, and Todorovic is not that great, to be honest, but he does have some experience in the UFC. It's a bit of a hard pick. This one, it's either Nick Klein's going to get this fight to the ground, or if he does struggle to get the fight to the ground, I feel like Mansur Abdul-Malik will kind of pick him apart in the striking. He's got some good takedown defense as well, Mansur Abdul-Malik, and he's also does mix up his takedowns as well. But I think we're in for a bit of a KO here. I'm gonna go Mansur Abdul-Malik on this pick here. So at 92% going Abdul-Malik, 8% Klein. Next up, we've got Andre Fili versus Melquizael Costa. Oh my god, hard to pronounce this one. I did look up the pronunciation, but fuck. Melquizael. Oh my god. Anyways, Andre Fili here is a veteran in the UFC. He's on the back end of his career at the moment, coming off a split win against Cub Swanson. So more of a striker, stays at range, looks for counters, mix up a lot of leg kicks and a lot of straight shots. And he did mix up some takedowns in his last fight there, so he is finally shooting some takedowns here and there in his fight. So trying to get someone like Costa. Costa did have a lot of issues with his takedown defense in the last couple of fights. He's a guy who will stay on the outside, mix up a lot of leg kicks and body kicks. And with Andre really being a pretty tall fighter, I think Costa would target a lot of the body of his as well. But yeah, he's got some decent grappling as well, Costa, so he will mix up some grappling, but he more so likes to stay on the stand-up and strike. So this is going to be a bit of a close fight. Might even see a split decision. I think it's just going to be just a stand-up striking battle. We're gonna see if Costa is legit the real deal, whether he will get past Fili. He probably could. Could be a robbery in this fight, though. But I think it's gonna be a close striking battle. Unless Andre Fili's got some decent footwork as well. So I'm gonna go with Andre Fili here, being the veteran, and I think the footwork will be the key. So yeah, I think he uses reach pretty well as well. So, but he is in the back end of his career. 79 going Fili, 21% Costa. I'm gonna go with Andre Fili as well in this pick. Next up, we've got Ricky Simón versus Javid Basharat. With this matchup here, Ricky Simón is not really looking good. I did pick him to beat Vinicius Oliveira, but holy crap, Oliveira with his last fight against Saeed Nurmagomedov, he's looking pretty good, to be honest. So he does look like he's coming up the ranks there. Ricky Simón's just not looking good here. Like, lost to Oliveira, lost to Mario Batista, lost to Yadong Song. Yes, those guys are pretty up there, going up the rankings. Before that, had a win against Jack Shaw, but that was a while ago, almost 3 years ago. Jack Shaw, pretty sure, is not in the UFC anymore now. And Raffael Asensio. So Ricky Simón showed that, you know, he did struggle to close the distance in the last fight, and Oliveira's footwork was too much, and he was picking his shots and picking Ricky Simón apart there. So yes, he does struggle to close the distance. He's decent shooting the takedowns, but if the takedowns aren't working and he's not very calculated, he will get picked apart. And I think with this fight, going against Javid Basharat is coming off a loss here against Ayman Zahabi, but Zahabi did look pretty good in that fight there. Picked his shots nicely and used a lot of footwork, staying on the outside, and frustrated Basharat on closing the distance there. But Javid Basharat is pretty good with mix up his striking, leg kicks, and he's got some decent footwork and switching stance. And throws a lot of side kicks as well. Mixes counter shots and also mixes up his grappling and his takedowns. But yeah, so in that last fight there, he really struggled with his striking and he's setting up his takedowns and struggled to close the distance as well. So Javid Basharat, more of his fights, of his wins are more against guys that are very stationary. So yeah, we've seen that where he struggles to close the distance, which is quite interesting. But we're going against someone like Ricky Simón. He's a very stationary target. He's not the best with his footwork. He's more a guy likes to stalk his opponents and push forward, but not very good at cutting off the cage. So I'm gonna go with Javid Basharat here, 82% and 80% Simón. I think Simón's done, to be honest. Next up, we've got Modestas Bukauskas versus Raffael Cerqueira. With this matchup here, Modestas coming up a win there, Marcin Brachinio. Modestas is not, he's more of a stand-up striker, but not a lot of output comes out, but he more so tries to throw more calculated shots. So he looked decent with throwing leg kicks and mixing up his striking, also clinching a lot there against Marcin's last fight and throwing some knees and trying to get the fight to the ground. He also used some takedowns in the last fight, so he's mixing up more now, not keeping on the stand-up, and going against someone like Raffael Cerqueira, he didn't look good in the last fight. He got knocked out by Ibo Aslan. He just looked like a deer in the headlights. So he's more of a guy that stays on the outside, uses tools to strike, like mix up leg kicks, and he has some decent wins on the outside of the UFC, like a lot of knockouts and set up submissions. But yeah, last fight looked like a deer in the headlights, and this may be a little bit of a step down for Modestas, to be honest, coming off a win there against Marcin, but understandable. Raffael Cerqueira, it's hard to pick with him with this fight. I just feel like that last performance did not look good. When, you know, Ibo Aslan did use his pressure strike and he just folded, to be honest, Raffael. So I'm going to go with Modestas Bukauskas here. I think it'll be a decision win, not a knockout. Maybe a knockout, depending if Cerqueira folds up again. So 85% going with Bukauskas, 15% Cerqueira. I'm going to go with Bukauskas on this fight too. Next up, we've got Ion Cutelaba versus Ibo Aslan. With this matchup here, Ion Cutelaba, he's ready to die in that cage. His records all over the place. Always win, lose, win, lose. Look, he's an entertaining fighter. He does push forward, and loads up on a lot of his shots, but it does mix up his takedowns here and there in this fight. Yeah, just kind of struggled with his career a bit, but he just loves getting into brawls as well. So coming off a win there against Ivan Aslan. Ivan Aslan was coming out of KSW in that fight. Yeah, it's one of those matchups where we might see Ibo Aslan get, you know, exposed, but I highly doubt it. Ibo Aslan, he kind of did with that, even with the Anton the Couch fight, whatever, Pleasure Man, whatever his name is. I thought he would have got Pleasure Man out of there early, but he didn't. He kind of got a late KO of that one, which was interesting. So, um, more in this last fight there, he yeah, more picked his picked his shots a lot better than not load up too much. So stand up striker, got some decent takedown defense as well. So and yeah, I think I'm gonna go Ibo Aslan here. I think he'll get Ion Cutelaba out of this fight. So 50% Cutelaba, 85% Aslan. I'm gonna go Aslan as well. Next up we've got Ketlen Vieira versus Macy Chiasson. With this matchup here, Ketlen Vieira is coming off a loss there against Kayla Harrison. She was dominating the fight, taken down, and pretty much just controlled and mauled with a 3-round decision. With this matchup here, Ketlen Vieira is probably not the best at striking, to be honest. So she does chop the lead leg, like throws some leg kicks here and there, but striking wise doesn't look that good. Offensively and defensively gets tagged a fair bit. She's more of a grappler in his last couple of fights. Even that Penny Kianzad, she used the grappling and get the takedowns. But with this fight, I feel like Macy with her aggression, and even the last couple of wins there, she uses aggression a lot. Through combinations, she defensively does get tagged up a fair bit, but yeah, she more so stays on the outside and picks her opponent apart. But she can also mix up the clinch and throwing elbows and knees, and she's very good with getting the fight to the ground and using the grappling. So she's a bit of a nuthead in the last couple of fights. So she's starting to grow on me, to be honest. Macy Chiasson. I do feel like she will crack the top 5, beating Vieira here. So I'm gonna go with Macy Chiasson and Vieira 41%. I think she'll get the decision, probably a doctor stoppage maybe. Stoppage or TKO. So yeah, Macy's the pick here. Next up, we've got Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. This is a big step down fight for Curtis Blaydes. He's coming off a loss against Tom Aspinall. Had a win against Almeida. I feel like this is kind of a piss take for Curtis Blaydes. I just don't know why he accepted this fight. UFC's kind of mocking him at the moment with this matchup, but I can understand why. Well, Curtis Blaydes, he just struggled to get that title fight. So yeah, lost against Sergey. So most of the guys are very pressure forward strikers he's lost against. Like he's had a win against like Jorginho as well. It must have been a while ago though. So yeah, he does well on some fights. Like he just falls when it comes to pressure strikers. But yeah, with this matchup here, like he does have some decent striking. We've seen it from Curtis Blaydes. He does mix up his takedowns well as well. We've seen that before. He was a more dominant wrestler, but now he's starting to mix up his striking more. But it's just been a bit of a slow striker, to be honest. Because if there's someone like Tom Aspinall with really good footwork and more hand speed, yeah, Curtis does fold. They're going against someone like Rizvan Kuniev. He's a guy who likes to, mix up his striking, but more of a grappler and more of a wrestler, to be honest. If you see his fights, even in that PFL fight there, Ronaldo Ferreira, he would mix up his grappling and get his takedowns. And use a lot of clinch work, so he'll be throwing knees and elbows on the clinches and trying to get the fight to the ground. I can understand why the UFC is pushing him. He does have a lot of potential from what I've seen. But yeah, it's just, it's one of those things. I'm gonna go with Curtis Blaydes. I don't want to shit on him, to be honest, but we could see an upset with Kuniev. But I feel like if Curtis Blaydes takes this guy to 3 rounds. Like even just he has been 3 rounds Kuniev, but he shows on the UFC level maybe he might expose Kuniev, but there definitely is potential of Kuniev getting the upset here. But I can't go against Curtis Blaydes. I'm gonna go with Curtis Blaydes here. I feel like he has taken this fight to prove the UFC wrong that Kuniev is not who he is. He's not like top potential fighter in the UFC, so I feel like he's just out there to prove the UFC wrong here. I'm going to go Blaydes, 89%, 11% Kuniev. Do apologize, being sick as well. So next up, we've got Gene Silva versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. With this matchup here, Gene Silva coming off the win against Drew Dober. If you guys haven't seen that fight, that was just it was a great fight. It was entertaining as fuck. Gene Silva's more of a striker, mixed up his leg kick, stays on the outside, looks for counters. Coming out of Fighting Nerds, they're definitely up there. Being the new big group coming into the UFC, so Gene Silva looking very good with his striking, very calculated, throws some nice body shots as well. Got some good, nice footwork. So that's a big win against Drew Dober. Yes, it was late, short notice for Gene Silva stepping, but he took the opportunity and he showed that he's who he is. He's definitely got potential. So going against someone like Melsik Baghdasaryan, I feel like this is a bit of a step down for Gene Silva. Baghdasaryan's coming off a win there against Takalat, so he's got some decent footwork as well. He's more of a striker. Baghdasaryan goes on some leg kicks, body kicks, mixes up his combinations, but takedown defense is a little bit not that great coming from Baghdasaryan. He does get taken down a lot of his fights too. He does struggle to get up on his feet as well. So, and he hasn't fought for a good year. So I feel like Gene Silva is going to get the win here. He may not get a KO, but I think he will get a decision win. The 3% Baghdasaryan, 97% Silva. I feel like Silva should get a better matchup than that fight. Next up, we've got Edson Barboza versus Steve Garcia. With this matchup here, Barboza, we know him being the veteran, pushing almost 40 years old, Jesus Christ. So he's been in the UFC for a while, kickboxer, but in his last fight, he had a couple of wins before that. He did get almost stopped by Sadiq Yusuff, and then he came back and pretty much took over that fight and lost against Murphy. I feel like that Murphy fight, I feel like he's just slowed down a lot, Barboza. I feel like, he does have the veteran experience in this matchup, but I feel like he's just slowing down a bit. But the leg kicks still look pretty damn strong off him. It still looks good with his kickboxing. So, going against someone like Steve Garcia, still young in the UFC. This is a big This is a big fight for him. He's coming off a win against Kyle Nelson. That was a big statement, putting Kyle Nelson out. So Kyle Nelson more of a grappler. He took him down, and Steve Garcia got out of that dangerous spot there on the ground with Nelson, and pretty much position, got up and then used some ground and pound on the ground there. So his grappling is very good, and he's got some really nice striking. So we've seen a lot of knockouts by Steve Garcia. So yeah, I don't think it could be a knockout. Yeah, knowing that Barboza did get dropped by Sadiq Yusuff and also was taking a lot of damaging shots. It almost looked like he was going to get stopped by Murphy. So maybe Garcia could get the knockout and definitely put Barboza's career to bed, but never know. Barboza might go fucking hold my beer and might win this fight, so we never know. I'm going to go with Garcia because I feel like Barboza's at the end of his career. But again, I can't really count Barboza out because he does have experience of having taken over these fights after getting dropped, as we've seen with Sadiq Yusuff. So yeah, 69% Garcia, 31% Barboza, and I'm going to go with Steve Garcia in this matchup. Next up, we've got Brendan Allen on the co-main event versus Anthony Hernandez. With this matchup here, Brendan Allen, both grapplers, but Brendan Allen, just that last fight, even though, yes, Imamov put a statement against Adesanya, it just looked like Brendan Allen was just not confident in his striking. He was doing everything he could to shoot takedowns. He did have a decent first round getting the takedown, but struggled to get fucking damage on Imamov, so he's more of a lame prey. Not very good on fucking putting damage on his opponents on the ground, but yeah, when Imamov was stuffing the takedown, Allen just didn't look like he wanted to strike with him, to be honest. Like, he's not a very good striker at all. Like, he does throw a lot of, they're not even calculated leg kicks. Like, even the high kicks, he doesn't set them up really well. They're not the best striker, more of a grappler. And with Hernandez at least showed that, he was comfortable to stay on the feet with Michel Pereira. Yeah, he didn't throw a lot of output, but you know, he did show Michelle Pereira like I will stay on the feet and mix up my striking, and like trying to make his opponents obviously back up against the cage, then shoot his takedowns. So at least he shows some pressure into his striking, while Brendan Allen just wasn't showing much pressure from his striking, just shooting not calculated, not very well calculated takedowns, shooting for takedowns. So he looked poor in that last fight, Allen. So I'm gonna go with Hernandez here because I feel like he's gonna be more confident in striking, and he will mix up his takedowns. And even if he doesn't get his takedowns and use a ground and pound, it'll be interesting who the best grappler he is in this matchup. I feel like Hernandez will be more comfortable on the feet, and he could pick Brandon Allen apart on the striking there. So I'm gonna go with Hernandez on this one. 50% Allen, 85% Hernandez. Allen's just gonna have to start striking more. He can't keep fucking shooting for takedowns when he's not comfortable with the striker. Anthony Hernandez a pick there. Main event, we got Henry Cejudo versus Yadong Song. With this matchup here, Henry Cejudo's coming off 2 losses. Marab, I think he said he had an injury, but you know, whether it was going to change the outcome of the fight, we just don't know. But I feel like Henry's just wasted a couple of years on the sideline. He decided to retire when he was on top. I don't think he should have, but it is what it is. We're not going to get into that. But yeah, coming off 2 losses, one against Sterling, one against Marab. In that Sterling fight, at least it was a lot competitive more than what the Marab was. Yeah, obviously, you know, when he was on top, he was very good with his striking, throwing a lot of. He was very nasty with his leg kicks. There, he was looking good. And his striking looked nice and was good at mixing up the takedowns. We know him for being an Olympic wrestler. So this matchup here, obviously, we'll just have to see what type of Cejudo comes in. So yeah, he said he had an injury in the Marab fight and he got dominated, even got taken down. So, but I think it's a little bit past his prime here. So I think Yadong Song striking is going to be very more effective in this matchup. He's coming off a loss against Petroyan, but dude's got hands, and you know, we're coming out Team Alpha Male. I think he'll be alright with his takedown. I think he'll defend some takedowns from Henry Cejudo here, but I feel like his striking is gonna be a lot more cleaner in this matchup. I feel like Cejudo's in the arse end, but he may surprise us, but I don't think so. So I'm gonna go with Yadong Song here. I think he's just gonna pick Cejudo apart, to be honest, and it probably might be a TKO later round or maybe a 5-round decision. We don't know, so we'll have to see. So I'm gonna pick Yadong Song here, just picking Cejudo apart, and 66% going to Song, and half of them going for knockout, half of them decision. But yeah, I think it will go decision or maybe a late TKO. So 34% Cejudo. So yeah. Anyways, guys, yes, Yadong was a pick there. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of the full card. I do apologize for being sick and just not sounding too motivated, but we got through the card, and I do apologize again for being sick. And next week, I'll obviously be a lot better. And yeah, I think next week's card is going to be Manel Cape versus Almabayev. Was looking forward to Brennan Royval, but he's injured now and he got concussed, I think, in the training, so he had to pull out. Was looking forward to that banger, but it is what it is. But yeah, we'll be back next week with another full card breakdown. Hit the like, subscribe, and have a good weekend, guys. Take care.